First off, thanks for having me. My name is Dalton Alberton, and I'm with LADD Dental Group. Our closest office to you guys is going to be Wabash. So we are at the adjacent retail center of the Walmart that's there. So for you guys that are curious, that's where we're at. So really for me, what I do for LADD Dental Group is I do the marketing and the business development. So really for my job, or what we do, is this is by definition an area of need. So really for us, it's all about driving that dental education and that patient education. So talking about the forms of insurance that we take, and we take all forms of insurance, including Medicaid. That's another thing that kind of makes us different and unique for this area. It can be an expensive kind of admin expense taking Medicaid for offices that don't have the infrastructure set up. Thankfully, because of our size and our scale, we're well equipped to take that and provide that care, and that's something that we really pride ourselves on, is again, providing that care of the people that need it most. An interesting fact on that is over 50% of the country does not normally see a dentist. That's a pretty wild stat, or at least that's something when I learned that I thought was very interesting. The number one reason given for not going to the dentist is fear. So for that, and knowing that and hearing that from the market, we offer all forms of sedation dental care. So the first form and the lowest level of sedation is something called nitrous oxide. So you're going to put on that gas, it's the laughing gas, you're going to breathe that in through your nose, and that's how it's going to be. It's going to go in through your lungs and hit the bloodstream that way. The second form of sedation is oral conscious sedation. So that's going to be done with a pill form. Now with that, that is another level of sedation, and it's another level up. So for that, you're going to have to have a driver come with you. You can't operate a car or any machinery like that. It has an amnesia effect. You most likely will not remember that day. You won't remember the procedure. You might remember waking up, or you might remember 5-10 seconds of it, but there's a large amnesia effect with it, and you're pretty much done for that day. It lasts about that long. But again, it's really nice though if you have big dental anxiety, if you have fear, if you have wisdom teeth that need to go, if you have a bunch of fillings or root canals, it can be very nice for those patients that really have a genuine fear. There's a lot of patients that have a bad traumatic experience as a child. They either had really bad dental care, didn't get numb, and had an advanced procedure done, and they just don't want to come back. And I sympathize and I get that, and oral conscious sedation is a great option for those patients. Because one thing that's very interesting, I sold spinal implants for about 5 years before I pivoted to this role. Every other bone and part of your body will regenerate and heal itself. At some point, your teeth are the only part of your body that will not fully heal themselves. So your bones in every other area of your body have something called osteoblasts and osteoclasts that will build down bone and break down bone at the same time simultaneously. So you're constantly healing and regenerating your bone. Your enamel do not have that. So once decay gets into your enamel, it only spreads from there. So a lot of times you can kind of break it down and look at it as going to the auto mechanic. If you don't go to the mechanic for 10 to 15 years to get your oil changed, to get your tires rotated, to get the belts aligned and tuned up, it's going to be an expensive trip to that auto mechanic. But if you're going every 6 months, every year to make sure the car's riding well, everything's going well, it's a much more inexpensive trip. The more proactive you can do, the better it's going to be. You get those cleanings, you eliminate that decay. If that decay is just at the surface level, that's a filling, not too bad. If that decay continues to go and it hits your nerve, now it's a root canal or an extraction. If that tooth breaks off and now it's below the gum line, now it's a more expensive extraction. So again, the more proactive you can be, the more cost effective it's going to be, and the healthier you guys are going to be. There's also a direct link between plaque buildup in your teeth and heart conditions. It's the same exact type plaque that fills your arteries, that's the plaque on your teeth. So again, it's really important and effective, and part of my job to educate that community on the importance of going to those cleanings. I'm not naive. I know nobody's favorite place is the dentist. Nobody likes going there, sitting in the chair, but it is something that's important, and long-term will help and save money long-term as well. So again, on that, talking about some of that patient education and the insurances that we take, again, being in this area of need, it's important for us to take all of those insurances, and something that's unique to us is we offer our own in-house dental discount plan. So for most people, it's going to be more cost effective to get in with a dental discount plan than to have dental insurance. Unless you work at a big manufacturer like a Chrysler or something like that where they pay 100% of your dental insurance, it's going to be better to go with the discount plan. There's no wait periods, there's no out-of-pocket maxes, there's more services that are covered. And again, it's fully up to you guys, and you're not making monthly payments on it. There's not co-pays with it. So all of that stuff actually ends up, when you compare, again, the savings between a discount plan and an insurance plan, 95% of the time you're going to save more with the discount plan. So again, what that lies onto is me, and we're a very lean company. So for us to get out here and educate and have these type dialogues, it is really crucial for us. In February, that's National Dental Health Awareness Month. We hit 30 elementary schools in the state, giving out free toothbrushes and floss and teaching them how to brush and properly take care of their teeth. And again, that's a good way to be disfluent with us. So here in the United States, we're hit with 5,000 to 7,500 ads per day. So the likelihood something's going to stick with you and you're going to remember it or even subconsciously be aware of it is very low. But with this type stuff, we get to be disfluent. So you get to talk with me, you get to put a face with LADD Dental Group, you get to ask questions, you get to learn about us and see that we are a living thing, not just a name. That's what gets interesting when you just put your name certain places. It's just really hard to stand out anymore because there's just so much market saturation everywhere and everybody's trying to grab your attention. So the better you can be disfluent and interactive, the better you're going to resonate with somebody. And then again, so for me in doing the marketing stuff, we're big on digital and traditional marketing. So I built all of our websites. I built them through GoDaddy, and for us, a big push is search engine optimization. And we do it so, and again, because we try and win on price, where we monitor our patient acquisition cost very, very finitely, and really challenge me with a low budget to try and reach as many patients as we can. Because the hard part is the more we spend in marketing, we got to make that up somewhere, and we want to win on price. So we try and very effectively and efficiently market to keep our price in control. So on that, the better we can organically rank on Google, the better. The less I have to pay them to get on the first page or to be the first business listed, the better for us. So really, a big push for that is keyword-rich content. So for us, again, talking about sedation dentistry, oral conscious sedation, IV sedation, root canals, fillings, dentist, Wabash dentist, Huntington dentist, all those type words, that's what we want to rank on. And the more you have that specifically listed in your website, the more the Google spiders are going to pick that up and they're going to find you relevant. And that's what Google's value is. Their value play is they're the best search engine algorithm because they find the most relevant content for you guys. That's why everybody searches on Google, because when you query something in, that search engine's better at finding relevant stuff for you than any of the other ones. So then it's our job to try and play to them so Google finds us relevant. Google owns YouTube, and there's a big push for video content. We have over 200 videos on our YouTube channel. We have over 200 subscribers on our YouTube channel, and we try and be active. This live stream video here, once I post it on Facebook, I'll then save it and I'll post it on LinkedIn and YouTube as well. All of that stuff just continues to build on each other. Linkability is another big thing when it comes to websites and relevancy. The more your websites link, the more you're going to rank well organically with search engine optimization. The other way you can do that is you can pay per click. You can go and buy words through Google at a prearranged cost. So for us, we can buy Manchester Dentist, Wabash Dentist, professional dental care, dental cleanings, all of that good stuff. And then you know when somebody queries those words in that we will pop up. And you guys as customers, you'll know if it's an ad, any type of thing that you're looking for, if that business has bought those words in green letters and it's a small little box, it will say ad next to the business listing. Any of those accounts that have that green ad next to it, if you click that button, that business has just paid for that click. It doesn't matter if you click the account and immediately exit out of the website, they still pay for that. The dental space, average pay per click is about $3 a click. Depends on how saturated your market is. The more saturated it is, supply and demand, the more expensive it is per click. The less saturated your market is, the less expensive it is per click. So that's kind of how that's how the fee structure goes. And you can set the parameters on the time that it's done. We only do our Google pay-per-click ads while we're open, so you can throttle it certain ways. We have specialists in our group, so again, wisdom teeth, IV sedation, all of that stuff, where again, it's hard for the patients to know what's the difference between an oral surgeon and a periodontist. What's the difference between a periodontist and a prosthodontist? What's the difference between an endodontist? So there's so many different specialties that again, it's up to us to educate the patients, not market to them. So that's really where I think makes the healthcare space different, is a lot of the marketing, at least in my opinion, if it's done effectively, it's patient education. Because I think if your services can sell themselves and speak for themselves, then it's an education play. And it's just putting It's putting the value there and expressing why there is value there. The way that we traditionally market is we'll do direct mail. So we'll send mailers. We're on the radio. We do billboards from time to time. We're the official dentist of the Jackrabbits. And on that, I'm going to pass around these mouth guards that we made for them. So what's cool about these are actual models that we made for the players. So the Jackrabbits came into our orthodontic office. We took impressions of each of the players, and then we sent it to our lab, and they made these custom fit mouth guards. So it's really cool. I'll pass these around and you guys can play with them. But again, just a nice way to keep the players healthy on the field. Again, this $150, $200 mouth guard is going to save a lot of money if you take a ground ball to the tooth and it's got to be extracted. Now you need a bridge or a flipper or an implant. This $200 just saved you a lot of money. So that's what's interesting kind of about the dental space. And just as we continue to be interactive, it's another place for us to go and be disfluent. We get to meet families in the area. It's a nice family environment. I think it's a good model for kids to what good looks like, to look up to those players and have a good model. I'll pass you that one as well. And then on that, I'm going to pass out these as well. These are our new patient coupons. So this is good for a free exam and x-ray. And I'll just pass these around. If anybody needs a dentist, don't worry about what's listed on there from our business location. We have 6 general offices in the area. Those are accepted at any office. So again, just something if you guys do need that care, and take extras if your family needs any as well. Again, that's about $150 value. So we'll pivot now to the dental industry. And I guess while I say that, are there any questions specifically to me as I hit you guys with a lot of marketing content? Who in this room wants to be a marketer? Okay. What do you guys, so of what I talked about, did anything resonate? Do you guys have any questions about what I said? Does anything stand out or do you guys want to learn more about?
I found it interesting that it's better to interact with customers and stuff.
Yeah.
So just like having a sign back.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I like your approach on educating people more than just like trying to sell your product.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, by educating them, you are still going to sell your product.
Yeah.
You're also doing a service towards them by educating them.
Yeah.
And so I like that.
Cool. And for us, and I'll get into this, but for you guys in particular, it's all about that digital play. YouTube, I think, is a phenomenal template and format for education. Again, you don't get hit with a bunch of marketers. That content stays. YouTube long-term, I think, is a massive play, and I think has a ton of viability. Facebook, with the algorithm changes, it's been harder to market there. They really want pay-to-play more now, and from an ROI perspective, I find Google a much better play than I have with Facebook. There is a little bit of viability with Instagram. Now, obviously, Zuckerberg owns Instagram as well, but there haven't been quite as many algorithm changes there. And it's another way that if you're effective with it, you can get good brand recognition for a pretty inexpensive cost. We're on Twitter, we're on LinkedIn. We try and do those things, and not only so we can be interactive, but also so they link to our websites. So for you guys in particular as marketers, Google and search engine optimization is only going to get more important. And as you guys look at just viable careers long term, that's where it's going to go. Especially if you guys want to, in my opinion, where the market's really going to go and continue to pay really, really well, if you can software code, if you can computer code, if you can build those algorithms, that's where a lot of money is right now. And that's a skill set that's going to continue to be in demand as robots and automation continue to come. They're only going to need more and more of those high-level programmers. So pivoting to the dental industry. So with us, there's not just the play of, oh, I want to be a dentist or not, and not looking at the dental space. There's a ton of opportunity there, and it's going to be one as society continues to age, and people are always going to need to have healthy teeth and need to chew food. These jobs are always going to be there. Now, there's going to be continual market disruption as the rise of 24-hour dental cares have happened, 7-day-a-week dental cares have happened, and a lot of times, again, with the average patient not going to the dentist, or over 50% not going, that leads to a lot of acute pain situations. So if it's been 8 to 10 years and that decay just continues to eat away at that enamel, it's going to hit your nerve. And once it does, tooth pain is about the worst type of pain you can experience. Your nerves are here, your brain is here, pain is transmitted through the nerves. Your brain feels it when your teeth are not feeling good. So that rises up a lot of those 24-hour dentals and those 7-day-a-week dental cares because, okay, I'm in pain now, where do I go? So that's changed a lot of the Monday through Thursday, Tuesday through Friday offices to change hours. Our office in McCordsville, we're open a Saturday a month. So we're starting to change some with the market dynamics as well and being convenient for patients. But for us, so treatment coordinators and insurance coordinators are a great way to get exposure into the dental space. And what I find so interesting about the dental space is how much of a team environment that it is. You can have the best dentist in the entire world, but if your insurance coordinator doesn't hook up the right insurance and you guys are getting billed 100% of a payment that you didn't expect, you're not coming back. If our treatment coordinators can't get you on the schedule, or we keep changing appointments, or you guys don't even know you have an appointment, you guys are gonna be unhappy and not come back. Dental assistants on down. What I find so interesting about the space is how much of a true team environment it is. And everybody has a very important role to play in the patient experience. Again, knowing that there's the inherent obstacle from the beginning, nobody wants to be at the dentist. So you're trying to overcome objections from moment go. So that's where it's important that we're punctual, we're on time as much as we can. Again, there's things that are always gonna happen, but as much as we can, and in general, following those benchmarks. So on that, that's the best way to get exposure into the space. For a dental assistant, that is a 1-year degree. If you want to be an expanded duty dental assistant, that's about a 3 to 6 month program, depending on how you want to do it. What happens with the expandeds are they're able to place fillings. So they're not drilling out the cavity. They're not getting rid of that decay, but they are able to place the filling material in the tooth. And again, as we talk about compensation for you guys, expanded duties are obviously going to make more than a standard dental assistant because they can do more. And that's going to be the breakdown across the board. We'll get into a little bit of the compensation and some of the student loan debt affiliated with some of these degrees. But again, the more you can do and the more you're willing to do, it doesn't matter what industry you're in, you're going to make more than the average. It is all about businesses are very good about finding out who's providing the value and who, as long as they're asking for customer feedback, are going to know who to reward. Like for us, we have patient surveys that we give out at every appointment. Again, being active on Google and on Facebook, we always want reviews. We always want that patient feedback, and we ask our staff to give that because that's how we know how we're doing. On that, dental hygienist is a really great career opportunity. They have a high job satisfaction rate. Again, still in the current environment, it's normally a 4-day work week. They get to do the fun stuff, the cleanings, all the stuff that the patients enjoy. They get to do some of the whitening stuff, and that's where the patient gets to leave and feel good with their smile. That again is a very high job satisfaction rate, and again, for the dental space, get good hours and a high satisfaction of their job. So for dentists, something that I always think is interesting is how much do you think the average general dentist graduates with from student loan debt? The average student loan debt for a general dentist? 7? 70? Okay. Any other guesses? Just fire them out. 600? Okay. Any other guesses? So the average general dentist is $300,000 in student loan debt, and that's averages. As you guys get better and better with numbers, you'll understand that is a wild average. When you get to dental specialists, it's $500,000 and above. So sometimes you talk about the inherent costs of dental care and just medical care in general. Some of it has to do with the baked-in cost of how much it gets just to get your certificate. And that is also good for patients as well, though, because you want to make sure that their training is adequate, they're fully up to speed by the time they're ready to start seeing live patients. So that I think is something that's very interesting when you look at the space in general. So what questions do you guys have for me about the dental industry?
So as a dental specialist, do you do the same kind of years of school as like a regular dentist?
So it depends on what you're doing, but yes, unless you're an oral surgeon. So oral surgeons most of them are going to medical school and then they're going to get their 4-year oral surgery degree. But the other ones, like an orthodontist, they're going to do their 4 years of dental school and then their 3 years of orthodontic school. your periodontist, and they specialize in gum treatment and dental implants. That's another 4-year dental school, 3-year fellowship in perio. Prosthodontist is another 3. Endodontist, those are root canal specialists, that's another 3. And that's basically the breakdown. The hardest one to become, or the most competitive, is an oral surgeon. We do have one oral surgeon on our staff there at our Kokomo office, and he's one of the ones that can do IV sedation.
Okay. And do they make the most?
They do. Oral surgeons make the most, and it kind of goes down in that order. The specialists are going to make more than the general dentist on a general breakdown. Again, it's going to depend though, and I heard this from Dave Ramsey, and this is going to apply to all of you guys, or at least I thought it was valuable. You don't ever want to take out more student loan debt than you think you're going to make in your first year's compensation. So say you guys want to be a marketer. Average ballpark of it is about $65,000 is what you're going to make your first year in this space out of school. A good general rule of thumb is you don't want to graduate with more than $65K of student loan debt, because then it's going to be hard to get in front of that. It's really amazing what 5 to 6% interest does long term. Really doesn't seem that bad on paper. You get punched with about 5% interest for 20 years, and you're paying double back what you borrowed. So it's amazing what compound interest will do in the rule of 7/8. Yeah, go ahead.
How much on average do hygienists get?
A hygienist, good question. So your hygienist is going to look around the 65 to 75 range, which is nice. And again, you can do that. Some programs you can do with an associate's degree. All of them you can do with a bachelor's degree. So again, that's pretty good compensation. There's a lot of times where you can get to schools too that are lower priced. Again, I think sometimes people chase a certain school or don't put the costs for their degree as much in the equation as they should. Again, I think that there's going to continue to be a push. As people are starting to understand, we're $2 trillion in student loan debt, and half of that debt is not backed by an actual degree. So there's going to continue to be pushes. I mean, trade schools all day long. If you want to be your own boss, and there's a massive push on social media, be your own boss, pick your own hours. The best way to do that, if you're a carpenter, a plumber, a welder with legitimate skills that can sell yourself, that's how you become a business owner. That's how you become an entrepreneur. Be very weary of the people that are trying to sell you these products on social media. Almost 95% of these companies are multi-level marketing schemes. All that means is that is a legal Ponzi scheme. If the person in above you is making money off the stuff you're buying and selling, you're most likely in a multi-level marketing scheme, and fire alarms should be going off. There's a lot of that going on, and there's a lot of manipulation happening through social media because the availability has never been there like that, and everybody's looking for the easy answer. The free market exists, and market equilibrium happens so fast. If something sounds too good to be true, it pretty much is. If you think you're going to work 4 to 5 hours a week and make a couple grand a week, please let me know. I also have some real estate that you guys could get in. I got a couple other investment opportunities for you as well. So on that, just take everything with a grain of salt and do that due diligence. Not saying that those opportunities aren't out there, but selling interesting products through Amazon is a tough game to go through. And again, on that, I want to be a resource here for you guys. If you want to learn more about marketing, let me know. If you want to learn more about the dental space, let me know. If you want to know about just the career opportunities in general, as automation is going to continue to come and disrupt jobs. The job industry is going to look massively different in 20 years than it does today. Virtual reality is going to be a game changer. Corporate real estate and commercial real estate is going to be changed through virtual reality. There's a ton of spaces that are going to feel this technology shift. We feel it. Last year we switched to a cloud-based dental management software. We did that so we can better serve our emergency patients. If any patient's been to any of our offices, their patient information is stored in our cloud, and it doesn't matter what office they go to. We have them hooked up. We have all the x-rays, all the patient charts, the notes. They don't have to fill out new stuff. So again, even at our level, we've gone to the cloud. The market disruption of the 24-hour dentals and the 7-day-a-week dentals, that's going to keep coming. The patients that are taking it more as an acute situation, more of the Great Clips way, where it's, hey, I want a haircut today. Hey, I want this today. Let me get in. So trying to fit that demographic in that market as that's changing, a lot of that is coming through with the millennial generation. and the younger generation of wanting more of that same day care. So that's been very interesting. Another industry trend that's been very interesting is the ghosting of appointments, basically. Like there's a lot of ghosting of job interviews now where people just don't show up to their job interview. There'll be patients that just won't show up to their appointment. We have about a failed appointment rate around 30%, where patients that have confirmed for their appointment day of either just don't call and don't show up, or call and have some type of event that inhibits them from coming. So again, all of that stuff from a business perspective, we then have to try and make work for us. So having our short call notice work better. So just putting certain policies in place so we organically can control some of those failed and missed appointments and work in this type of an environment. That's what I find so funny about everybody, and the main push of entrepreneurship is picking your own hours, right? Everybody's taking the video by the pool, they're at the beach, they're working their 3 hours, they're taking selfies. It is true you get to pick your own hours when you own your own business. The thing they forget to tell you is it means you're always working. There hasn't been a Saturday or Sunday that I haven't worked in the 18 months I've been here. Now, when I was selling spinal equipment, some of the days were a little bit longer, some of the acute stress was a little bit higher being in the actual operating room, but I put in twice the hours I do now that I did when I was selling spinal equipment. And talking about pay and compensation, I made over double selling spinal equipment than I do now. At job satisfaction, I feel much better here. But again, as you guys talk about certain things, from a strict compensation standpoint, sales from not having an actual education is the best opportunity to make big money. Now, it's also very hard too, because again, supply and demand, and you're going to have market equilibrium. So you have to make sure you're selling a good product and you're very good at it, because there's you can make a lot of money or you can make zero. There's a lot of sales jobs that are set up where you only get paid when you sell something. So again, all of that just kind of weighs in, and if you feel like you're a good people person and you don't want to take out on a lot of debt, get into sales, learn people. There's always going to need people to be selling things. That's another thing that's going to be hard for robots to do. So the more you can be creative, you can be content driven, or if you can actually program the robots, that's what it's going to be. But automation for you guys is going to be a massive job disruption and something you guys are going to have to deal with. Again, as fast food industries are going to have machines where you place your own order. You go to the grocery store, you check yourself out. I mean, we're already starting to see some of jobs change. Now again, I get skeptical. I don't think technology is ever going to phase out all jobs. Universal income gets a little scary for me through the history of technology that's never actually replaced jobs. It's changed them. It's changed what the job structure looks like, but it hasn't eliminated jobs. So we'll see what this next wave has. Artificial intelligence is wild. Machine learning is wild. I mean, we are on the cusp of some massive things. But again, we've been on this for a while now, and it'll be interesting to see how this all plays out. But for you guys, that's just something that I would be aware of, knowing that what industry I'm in and what current automation there is in my space. And knowing that, okay, if you have to compete with these robots, how do you make yourself better? That's going to be a big thing for you guys, is separating yourself not only from other individuals, but now automation. Because again, the thing that robots have going for them is they're never sick. They don't make a mistake if the code's not off. They don't need health insurance. They don't need pep talks. They don't need management. When they're on, they're working. So those are some tough things to overcome. But again, they also can't truly think for themselves. They don't have emotional intelligence. You can't program them for emotional intelligence yet. So knowing that and being content driven and individual driven, that's kind of how you separate and can differentiate yourself from the competition. That's something that I find so interesting, especially with the rise of social media and everybody having strong thumbs, is everybody's willing to talk and type about how they want something, but actual action does not come through. I mean, even in terms of, we have a scholarship with IUK, and they wanted us not to have it application-based, but have it just anybody that's accepted is put into this pool, because so few people actually apply for the scholarships when you make it application-based. I just think it's so interesting that you hear such a push for free college. It's so expensive, nobody can afford it. But then the scholarships that are out there, nobody takes that 20 to 30 minutes to actually apply for it. And that's what I think is just such a disparity, is again, everybody talking and everybody voicing these things, but it's the action that actually gets things done, and that's what's at an all-time low. So I think that's something that's going to continue to be an interesting thing as we move forward as well. Cool. So again, what else? I want to be a resource here for you guys. So I know the dental industry can't always be the most informative or interesting. The marketing space isn't always the most interesting. I played tennis at Ball State. I graduated with a business and sports administration major. So if anybody wants to learn more about those spaces, again, I'm here just for you guys. Hello. And that's what happens when you're live right there. Cool. I was just keeping the audience on their toes. Cool. So what else?
When you get those certifications, how does it place on the state?
Good question. It depends. Some states have crossovers, some not. Yep. Now with that, you'll have to get your X-ray certifications to take X-rays. If you do coronal polishing, you got to get that. So there are a fair amount of certifications involved for sure. Most states have crossovers, but some don't. Depends. Like a lot of the super liberal states will make you get their own certifications, like California, New York, that type of stuff. Chicago, Illinois, I should say. Cool. What else? You got a question for me? I can feel it. So what career space or industry kind of points out at you or resonates with you?
I was thinking about veterinarian.
For sure. Well, now, would you want to be a vet tech, a veterinarian? Would you want to work in a vet office? What? Okay. And again, I'm thinking that's a one-year degree. I'm thinking that's kind of like a dental assistance degree. And I would think has a pretty high job satisfaction rate. I think sometimes it's a little harder because you do see some of the more sick dogs and some of that. But I think that there's a high job satisfaction with that as well. And pets are massively in demand. I mean, the pet space has exponentially exploded in the last 10 years. So that's not a bad industry to hitch your wagon to. Cool. You got a question for me? I can feel it.
Not really.
Oh yeah, I can feel it.
No.
So what resonates with you? What jobs kind of pique your interest?
Well, I want to get into accounting.
Okay. Yeah. People always need to count the money. So like a CPA? What type of field in the accounting industry?
CPA.
Okay.
Probably forensic accounting.
Oh, forensic accounting. Okay, that's different. Okay, so doing some white collar crimes,
Yeah.
getting in there. Okay, very cool. Yeah, CPA test, very tough test. It's a 4-part test. But again, a job that's always going to be in demand. CPAs are very important. Yep. CFO, another job, big time pay there. Cool. What question do you have for me? Nothing. Any jobs stand out?
No, I just want to be a DMP and I want to allow dog training and breeding business.
Okay. Yeah, back in the pet game. That's not a bad space to be in. How about you?
Well, I thought about being a dentist.
Okay. Now, why thought about? Still thinking, or is that past tense?
I'm still thinking about
Okay.
it, but
Yeah. Besides, what calls out to you about being a dentist, or what do you like about that potential?
money.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know, that's really all.
No, 100%. And again, individual incentives make the world go round. That's not a bad answer. And again, what's nice about the free market is you're only going to get paid if you're good. So I like that. That's a good way to vote with your dollars of who's good and who's not. And again, that's a good drive for you of why do I want to go get this CE? Why do I want to get better at this? Why do I want to add this to my surgical armamentarium? And it's a good driver. And why do I want to provide this patient experience? Everybody thinks profit's a dirty word, and really it's not, because it means the only way you're going to get profit is if you run efficiently and if you give a good product. You're not going to make any money if your product's no good and you're running really inefficiently. So that to me is something that I think is really unique, because now it has this negative connotation when, one, you look at 98% of entrepreneurs fail. 50% of second-generation businesses fail. 90% of third-generation businesses fail. It is so hard to make money that if you actually are making it, there should be really a positive connotation behind it, because it's so hard to do. And small and mid-sized companies are the backbone of the economy. As that continues to be consolidated and sent all to just bigger hubs, these areas of need and these rural communities are going to continue to have population decrease, And that's where the jobs and the opportunities need to come back here. And again, as people vote with their dollars, the more that they support the local things. Again, everybody likes to talk about how bad of a company Walmart is and how they take advantage of everybody, but everybody here shops there and votes with their dollars. What I like about capitalism are you're voting with your dollars and cents. What you find valuable is who you're supporting. If you want small and mid-sized companies to be here and thrive and grow, that means you got to spend your money there. Now they're going to be more expensive. Again, Walmart is Walmart because economies of scale work. The things that they do, they don't have to pay corporate tax because they've got in on both sides. Again, we pay 35% tax. Those massive companies, Amazon made like $1 trillion, they paid $0 in federal tax. So there's certain market forces that are going to be hard for small to mid-sized companies. It just is what it is. But again, as people like to talk, I want those family businesses. That means through action, they actually have to support it. So again, that's again where that little bit of disparity comes in, talking versus action. So that's another one that I find a little bit interesting. Go on. What do you got for me?
I want to go for nursing at first.
Very cool. Yeah. Again, another job high in demand. As you guys, as baby boomers, continue to get older, and they're going to be the large part of the economy and the service sector in particular here in about 5 years, big time on the nursing side. Now we'll see as socialized medicine continues to expand and push that way, what that changes to all of these jobs. But the jobs are always going to be there. What the compensation and what the environment looks like might be completely different, but there's always going to be a need for it. So that's smart. Cool. Yeah.
When you graduated college, did you go straight in? Like, what was your first job?
Yeah, so it's a good question. And for me, what I thought was interesting, and for you guys, the more granular wins you can have, the more you're going to separate yourself. So the more you can come in with actual anecdotal experience, like, okay, you want to say, I work hard. That answer at face value is not really going to be taken. How are you hardworking? Show me an example of where you had to overcome a bunch of obstacles and got there. So for me, the best thing on my resume was playing collegiate tennis. I was able to take a leadership role early on. I was able to learn management and leadership and different communication styles. I was able to put in hard work for at least 4 years and show that drive. And that's where it is for you. I see you dressed up. You're obviously in an extracurricular. Again, that's awesome. That's a resume builder. You're having to learn things here that you can take and you can use the experiences you're learning here. Put that in there. Put some thought to it of how I can take this type of life experience and pivot it to the career industry, and that's a home run. Again, that's what people are really looking for, again, because everybody's learning how to say I'm hardworking. Not many people can show they're hardworking because that's where the disparity is. So the more granular examples you can have of that, of, hey, I did that extracurricular. Hey, I volunteered here. Hey, in my part-time, I learned this. I did an internship here. This is what I learned in my internship. That type stuff, that's where you stand out. And continuing to use, like, you get in on LinkedIn, starting to build your network there, starting to reach out to some people, starting to kind of put some feelers out. All that stuff is just good activity. Yeah. How it went for me, so I graduated, I sold wine for about 3 months. I got in with Monarch Beverage. I was able to actually, through giving some tennis lessons, I was able to meet a medical device distributor. Kind of started meeting with her, and that's where it's going to be for you guys. It's all about networking. It's not really what you know necessarily. It can be a lot of times who you know. And again, that's why always be looking to go out, get out of your comfort zone, try and learn new things and meet new people. Because again, if you're around a lot of successful people, the likelihood that you're going to be successful too dramatically increases. Your peer group is really going to reflect a lot about what your life situation is going to look like. Yeah. And then I sold spine for about almost 5 months and then pivoted to, I've been with LADD Dental Group for about 18 months now.
Did you know anything about the dental industry before
No, not really the dental industry. Now I was dating my wife at the time, she's been at LADD for about 5 years. So I was able to, just through some of her experience, pick some things up. I was able to pivot my spine knowledge and kind of fusion understanding and some of the pathologic stuff and anatomical stuff that way. But in terms of website design, nope, I learned that all on the job. In terms of, like, again, I never went Facebook Live before I took this job. I wasn't very active on social media. For me, from a personal standpoint, I really despise social media, which is funny because I'm on it all the time. But from a marketing perspective, I find value there. Because again, it's a way where we're here, we're being disfluent, and this can be pull through. So for me, if even 10 people watch this video, it's a win for me because I didn't pay anything for this, right? So I can get a few extra eyeballs, and again, it's not going to be much. With the Facebook algorithm change, again, I would be shocked if more than 50 people saw this. But again, for me, I'm willing to put myself out there. Again, my phone dropped. This hasn't been a perfect video. I can see here the camera angle's not great. But for me, perfect doesn't exist. And it's really important to get a lot of content out there. So that's a big one. That's a big one there, is sometimes that perfectionist mentality can hinder a lot of growth. If you're never going to be perfect at something. So you guys just got to understand that now, and it's something that is hard to kind of grasp or understand. But again, there's always going to be somebody better, smarter, earlier. It just kind of is what it is. But again, for us, it's controlling effort. It's just doing things and feeling comfortable with them, and just putting yourself out there. Because again, if one person sees this video, it's a win for me. You know, so that's kind of how I go about it, at least. Good questions, though. Cool. What else? You got a question? I can feel it.
I mean, I guess you mentioned like a lot of like terms
Yeah.
of like different kinds of like people in English and the industry.
Yeah.
What are some of those?
What do you mean?
Like, I don't know. I knew you talked about the area one earlier.
Oh yeah, okay, so the different specialties that you can have in the dental space? Okay, very cool. So an oral surgeon, that's gonna be a 4-year program where they're gonna go and they're gonna do all things oral surgery related. Like our oral surgeon in Kokomo, he actually had a military background. A lot of his training was done over in the Middle East. And he has an amazing pedigree and background because again, you get to see all different kinds of things over there. So it's a really great. It's great for the active servicemen because again, they're getting oral surgery care, and it's great for him too because he has a really good environment to get in there and provide that care and learn things, and then pivot that to the private industry. So that was cool. Periodontists, so they're going to do gum treatment and dental implants. That's a 3-year degree. Prosthodontists, they're going to do like the crowns and the finishing stuff. And since you asked the last question, you get the sunglasses. Your endodontist is going to be a 3-year degree. Root canals. Your orthodontist, 3-year degree braces. And then you're going to do again in your prosthodontist. They're going to do like the crowns. They're going to do the stuff. If you have an implant, sometimes they'll do the tooth that goes on top of that, the actual crown that you see above the gum line, that type stuff. Yeah, cool. Oh, thanks for this. Cool. Well, thank you guys. Any other questions?
You said something about Dave Ramsey.
Yep.
That was kind of funny because my parents are in like some financial class.
Yeah.
Like Dave Ramsey.
Good. Yeah.
That was funny.
Yeah. No, he's got a lot of good stuff.
They have like a big book that's like.
Yep. My wife and I don't do any of his. We listen to his podcast a lot.
Yeah.
And again, talk about another forum that's only going to get bigger. Podcasts are huge. Like I love the Joe Rogan podcast. There's certain podcasts that are out there that are just phenomenal.
They're interesting.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not surface level stuff. Like they get a little bit deeper, and you're not getting the okay. I have 3 minutes here. How do I lodge all of this info into 3 minutes? It's impossible to do. So then you end up just getting either biased information or not accurate information because you're slamming this stuff into a format that just doesn't fit.
Yeah.
Cool.
I don't know exactly what I want to do in college, but like the past 3 years, I was like really focused on going into computer engineering.
For sure.
Because I'm going to Bethel.
Okay. Yep.
So they're starting a computer engineering program next year, and so that was like my whole plan, and to minor in like marketing on top of that. And
Yeah.
So I don't know what the
Yeah.
feeling it out.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, and I don't want to overwhelm you guys again. When I was your guys' age, I had no idea what I wanted to do either. It's just kind of just picking out different things or things that resonate. But computer sci, Yeah. If you have the math and science brain, I would utilize that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's way easier to do what I'm doing right here, right now, than it is to code programs.
So like, I'd like to do both.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's, I like people interact.
For sure.
Like, I do want to do both.
Yeah.
Program, and stuff like that, and on top of that, also need to market
For sure.
my product or whatever.
Well, and that's one where, and again, where it's not fake multi-level marketing. If you can get in and actually be a true programmer and then sell your own services, you can market yourself and say, hey, don't go with this program that, again, they have 1,000 people, so there's 8 different layers of bureaucracy that just keep increasing price. I'm a one-man show. I can do a better product for half the cost because I only have to worry about paying myself. And then that's how you go. So then you can do your own Google pay-per-click. You build your website with keyword-rich content, and you just try and beat them that way.
No, it's all very interesting.
Yeah, and it's only going to get more competitive.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for coming.
Absolutely, guys. Absolutely. Nice to meet you guys. Cool. Thanks for checking us out, guys. Have a good Thursday.